Hello and welcome to Follow That Female. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm here with Kelly O'Brien. Kelly has had a very successful career in the hospitality industry for the past 30 years and has got a lot of experience managing restaurants. For example, Kelly managed a restaurant in downtown Toronto, also the Aramark Centre, which was in the base of the CN Tower in Toronto, the Metro Convention Centre restaurant, and more recently the Oshawa Golf and Curling Club. But right now, your current project is Bistro 67 in Whitby, Ontario. So hi, Kelly. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your current project and what attracted you to the hospitality industry in the first place.
Well, I actually fell into the industry by chance. It was my brother. I had finished university, traveled, and came back, and I needed a job. So he employed me at a restaurant. And soon after, he branched out and opened his own restaurant, which was Global Village in downtown Toronto. And he asked me to come be a part of the project and help him sort of get it off the ground. And I just sort of fell in love with the industry and the hospitality side of things. And I helped with that restaurant for a couple of years and then sort of transitioned from there. My first waitressing job, it was my Labatt rep actually back then that his wife got me involved with some volunteer work, which I love to do as well. And then from that, I got my job at the with Aramark at the CN Tower, that was a really good job that had a lot of training and good background information. And I just sort of progressed from there, kept going in the hospitality industry, and I really enjoyed it and continue to stay in it. Currently, I'm sort of in a transition period, but most recently I've been the general manager at the Galen Weston Centre for Food and Durham College Bistro 67. And I always say, people always ask my role, and I always say it's a blend of taking the academic side of the college and blending it with the operations, because we really focus on work integrated learning and giving students opportunities. And you can go to college for 2 years, but actually get 3 to 4 years of experience if you take some of the job opportunities while you're at college. And those can be not right now at the moment, but in the past in our event business, in our pantry retail food outlet, in the restaurant Bistro 67, which has really gained a lot of ground in Durham region and made a bit of a name for itself, most recently as the most scenic restaurant, voted by Open Table, and also one of the top 50 vegetarian restaurants as well in Canada.
Brilliant. And the Galen Weston, so that the Weston family own Loblaws, right? The Loblaws group.
Yes.
Yeah. So did they sponsor the restaurant through the college then? Yeah. Okay. And
they sponsored the building and a bunch of scholarships as well. They fell in love with the whole field to fork vision and what we were doing. They actually really enjoyed our field supervisor, Ryan Cullen, who grows all the food. We have just under an acre of land where we grow produce. And we continue to add more innovation to the area. We've got now a container, it's a freight container that can grow up to 700 heads of lettuce a week. So we can grow that year round. So a lot of that development and innovation has come from funding from the Weston family.
So I was going to ask you about that, actually, the sustainability aspect of the restaurant, because a lot of the food is grown just right outside the restaurant, right, in that area. Which is kind of just for the crops to use then in the restaurant as fresh produce. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yes,
didn't you just
actually last year.
Sorry, didn't you just win an award for that as well?
We won our Feast on certification. We do that biannually. That's for using local food. I'm not sure what award you're speaking about.
I thought there was a symbol on your restaurant website for sustainability, green, or was that more the vegetarian aspect?
No, that's a designation we have. It's through, it's an American designation, but it's for your sustainability, and it goes from everything from the systems in the building to your packaging to what, local food, all those different things. So it's a star rating system, and we're just about to when I started, we had a 2-star rating. We moved up to a 3-star rating, and we're about to go through the process to be recertified. So I don't imagine we'll go beyond the 3-star. I think that's one of the top rating, but we still have lots of plans for further innovation. Before COVID, we really wanted to look at a biodigester so we could be field to fork to field, so we could actually take all our compost and food waste and turn it into compost for the garden. So that's sort of still on the radar as our future plan, but just to continue to evolve, because the way I look at it, it's our students that get to learn all these innovations and these new systems and the use of local food, and then they take that out into industry, which I think now more than ever, it's really important.
Right. So you've had 30 years in the hospitality industry, so you're obviously very passionate about that industry. What is it that you enjoy particularly about managing restaurants?
I think every day's different. You like, I even think for the 6 years that I've been at the Weston Centre, just watching the restaurant evolve in those 6 years, I look back at food pictures of the meals that we produced to what we do now. In my current role, I love the student interaction, watching a student start to finish. They come into school, first year, and they're pretty green, and you watch them evolve and develop. And that's actually how I first got connected to the college, is I was on a program advisory committee meeting where industry comes in and helps the school with the programs and what industry needs in those certain careers. So in hospitality, I chaired the PAC committee and just provided insight as what we were looking for in industry as far as employees coming out of college and university.
Right, right. So you can train them directly into those needs for the industry. So what are the main challenges that you've had to, I guess, overcome in that role? Like if you're giving somebody advice on their career, what to be prepared for going into the role of a restaurant manager?
Well, I think you have to be adaptable. Last year, what COVID has done to our industry, it's decimated it. So we really had to make a lot of pivots. That's the word, we call that the word of the year. You have to really, find new business avenues, new revenue streams. You have to think outside of the box. You have to be different. You have to know how to market your business. If I look at the last year, we really, like, what our mainstay of revenue was no longer available to us. So, as much as possible, we wanted to keep people employed. So we just changed our whole business model. And that's where last year we developed the farmers market. We opened our patio for dining. We started our curbside takeout. And we've also been feeding the homeless since May of last year through Bistro 67. Originally they were at Camp Samak, and now there's meals picked up 7 days a week for those that are off the streets, and they're trying to keep them, curb the spread of COVID as well.
Is that funded by local charities, or how is that funded for the homeless?
Region of Durham.
Oh, okay.
And along with the project is led by the Salvation Army, but I think Region of Durham is the funder, and we work with both of them very closely. We've also done a lot of work in the past year with Community Care Durham. When COVID first hit and we were shut down, we had labs scheduled, we had a busy restaurant schedule, we had all this food that was perishable. So we ended up donating quite a bit of it and also processing a lot of it and taking it. Community Care launched a community food box program at the start of COVID. So we supported that for a while, and we're just actually now starting to support it again this summer with some of the things that we're growing. Once a month, we'll contribute to that food box program.
Okay. So adaptability, obviously thinking outside of the box. What else would you say would be the traits of a successful restaurant manager?
I think you have to be organized. I think you have to have systems in place. When I first started, it was a new restaurant that, had no employee manual, no handbook, no SOP, standard operating procedures. I think there's got to be something in place for that. A big one has got to be emotional intelligence. Food service is something that can get, good reviews, great reviews, and then some really bad reviews and some tough customers. So managing people, you need to have that level of emotional intelligence. And that's actually a lesson my brother taught me when I first started working with him at the restaurant. He got mad at me for something and I broke down, and he just pulled me aside and said, if you're going to you're going to keep going, you gotta let some things roll off you. And that's a moment in my career that I remember that, you just got to be able to, you're going to get knocked around a little bit here and there if you have a bad customer experience or, a difficult staff person. You just need to be able to move on and not let it sort of define the day to day, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't sweat the small stuff. Right. Focus on the things that really matter.
Yeah. I'm my daughter that book. Yeah. Yeah.
So didn't you just
Yeah.
win an award
I'm also a
also?
big believer.
Oh, sorry. Got a bit of a
Yeah. Last year, the CI Can Award for excellence in administrative manager through the college system. So it was a really big recognition. Just before that, I won the Durham College Administrator of the Year award, which was quite a recognition in itself. But from that, I was put forward as a nomination for this as well, and got the gold recipient award, which was very humbling. And it was a great recognition for sure. And it was interesting. I soon after went into a leadership program. I just finished my second week last year, and it was great timing because you come off these two big recognitions and you think, I got it all, I'm the great leader, but there's still always learning to be had. So that first week and the week I did last week was really beneficial. Just sort of resets you as a manager, as a leader.
Mm-hmm. That's well deserved, no doubt. Congratulations. So in
Thank
terms
you.
of your tips for leadership and career in general, any insight specifically to share with the audience on your top tips for success, either in a leadership role or in restaurant management?
Yeah, it's funny. I thought about this today, and I thought a lot about my last week. And the message to you've got to always be inquisitive. So embrace the inquisitiveness and ask questions. I'm a big believer. I would rather have a student, if I'm teaching them, or an employee ask me a million questions. To me, there is never a question that is not worthy of an answer. So to ask those questions, and then you like I said, lifelong learner, you got to keep continuing to learn along the way. I think you have to sort of challenge the process and find your success. A lot of my success has been through networking and communicating, staying, in touch with key people that have, recommended me for other jobs and moved me along. I'm just about to transition to a new role that has come from the recognition and success I've had at the Galen Weston Centre for Food, and I'm super excited for that opportunity. So I think, hey, you just got to you can't get complacent. If you look at the last year with COVID, you have to think outside the box. You have to keep pushing forward and, be strategic in your thinking, connect with people, and just keep learning all along.
So you touched a little bit on your current project there. So you were just awarded a grant by the Barrett family for 5 million Canadian dollars. Can you tell us a little bit about what the future holds with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super exciting. Basically, they have a real interest in urban farming and what we're doing at the Weston Centre, and they want sort of a proof of concept. We're basically going to build another farm and really collect really strong data. It's both social and economic. Social, we really want to focus on food insecurity, supporting our community. And economic, is it a viable, sustainable business? Because there's lots of models out there that don't necessarily can't sustain without some form of funding. So we want to prove the concept. Part of the process is going to be a real focus on sustainability. It's going to be more work integrated learning opportunities for our students, curriculum development, certificate development, and then there are job opportunities for students down the road as well. So it's a 5-year plan. First thing we have to do is find some land. So we're trying to hopefully get somebody that will give us some nice land, that we will come with some capital and some plans and some expertise to really build out the vision and, take it from there. And my hope is that it can be a big part of Durham region and, give back to our community, especially, I think if anything COVID's done, it's put a huge highlight on the food insecurity in the area. And lots of charities their focus is not what they normally do, but focusing on how to get food to people. And the more local it can be, I think it's better for everybody involved.
definitely. So will you be training students on farm type jobs, like farm management as well? Will the students be running the farm? Is that the idea? Yeah, brilliant. And the Barrett family, is
Yeah,
that?
they do right now.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Right now we have a crew of summer students and that last year as well. So the students get hired to work and build out the farm that we have now. We only have one full-time employee that's involved. The rest is students. And they played a huge role last year in us sort of, we started a summer not knowing what the outlook was going to be, and we built out the farmers market. We listed on a few other areas. We did a lot of food through our curbside takeout. So the students, that's where I think I almost wish I could go back to school to have the opportunities that they have. And the thought is that they will have some access to this new farm, and then eventually we will hire a couple of students to run the farm as well down the road.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. And the Barrett family, is that like the confectionery company, Barrett?
Not to my knowledge. I think it was I think it's packaging is my understanding.
Okay. So also related to the food
Mhm.
industry. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Well, Kelly, thank you very much for your time. Sorry about the patchy internet.
You're
I kicked in a few times. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for the insight. And
No
if you
problem.
enjoyed the content of the video, please like and subscribe and tune in for the future videos. Thanks again, Kelly.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.